In a couple of weeks I will be in Calpe for a training camp with my team, but am I ready or not? I don't feel very much ready, so I need to stop playing games. So I decided to train like a pro for a week. I'm going to spend the next 7 days training like the Visma LISS bike, one of the best team in the World Pro Tour. I'm going to experience their favorite training and roads, and the roads that I will be training with my team as well. On the Monday we start with the LISS, low intensity steady state, which is a classic exercise when you maintain the 60-70% of your cardiovascular rate, so your heart rate, 30 minutes to 1 hour. You can notice that in the pro trainings, the zone 2 is never really steady. You start with a warm-up with a pyramid in this case, and then you have different blocks at different wattage, even it's still in zone 2 with blocks of zone 1. You can see also on the blocks of 6 minutes that the RPM is really high, so 90 RPM on the 6 minutes, and we have on the last two slightly higher zone 2, we're going up to 95 RPM, so high cadence is zone 2 but still maintaining a moderately lower heart rate. You are more than welcome to follow me on Strava to see all my numbers, my data, my trainings, and where do I train. Over here. And if you want to try Rouvy, if you didn't try yet, you have 5 weeks for free with the code Rodrigo. Don't miss out. After Tuesday's Swift Racing League race, I had to go a bit lower. I did the Steven Kruijswijk favorite training, which is like in between zone 3 and zone 2. So it's kind of like a sweet spot training, but I try to go not as the hard as possible. You can see here is a different pyramid interval, so even though you are in zone 3, you work on different wattage, while the two last blocks of 6 minutes, they are a bit more moderate in terms of zone 3. I lower it down a bit in the last one because Thursday was the time to do the very intense Jonas Vingegaard training. The actual plan was to train on Thursday, but actually after my race and the Wednesday training, I didn't really feel very well. I had a bit of sore throat and also a bit of headache, so I thought let's take a rest day on Thursday and go with intensity on the Friday. Here we go with the most intense training for the week. This is the Jonas Vingegaard attack prediction. Pretty hard, I would say. I'm not sure if in the paper it looks that hard because I saw some zone 5 and some training harder. But you can see here you don't really start with a build-up, you start straight away on zone 2 with a few kicks, and then you start in zone 5, quite a high zone 5, for me close to 5 watts a kilo, so you start with a big kick of 1 minute 20 and then you go down 3 minute 20 on your exact FTP or sometimes higher FTP. So you did do this for 3 times and it was really hard to maintain the cadence. Not sure if I picked probably the wrong location because it was a bit up and down. I expected a bit more of a mountain, more of a climb, but they call the ruts. But it was not like this. So it was really hard, even though I've been able to maintain a consistent power, but not a very high cadence, like it's supposed to be on a training of this type. On the first interval, on the second and the third I struggle really much. Now we jump on the second block, but let me show you quickly the second and third intervals, and you can see those peak down. This is when I went to a complete block, so I couldn't pedal anymore. Rouvy is more difficult than Swift. Swift unlock the erg mode when you go down lower than 50 RPM. But on Rouvy it's not like this, so if you go too low then it goes to a complete block and then it stops the rider, so this is even more difficult to maintain or bring it back up. Even if you jump or you stand on the pedals, it gets even more difficult. The last two blocks are 7 minutes, 110 of your FTP, and I couldn't keep it up, so I did 1 minute on the first one and then I stopped once. Then I decided to actually remove the erg mode. So you can see here is a moment when I'm not in erg mode. Then I had a bit of a relax in zone 1 and I tried to hold on the very last block. It doesn't look dramatically crazy in the paper, but trust me, this is really hard exercise. Obviously I was not in top form, I was still recovering a bit, but still really hard exercise. More than physically, it's also difficult mentally to keep pedaling. You can see the RPM here is very low, but I put in my head, and you can see on the video here they are really pushing hard to try to maintain the minimum. So my goal here was to arrive at least at 3.5 minutes, at least halfway of the block before pulling off the erg mode and try to recover a bit and then go again. So it was really difficult. You can see my heart rate is quite high. Is in zone 6. You can see my heart rate is quite high. So it's not just about the pedaling, it's about a mix of things. And in the meantime, you can see a lot of other riders, even pro riders here, called the rats. So you can see, I mean, it's an enjoyable training, it's an enjoyable place to be able to be in Spain or Rouvy, etc. But trust me, this was really difficult exercise, and the list of things that I could see was actually the landscape and all the pro riders around. At about 1 minute to go, and you can see how fantastic again is the landscape here. I wanted to put the erg mode again and try to go really hard. Not easy if you consider that now we are going on a descent at 66 kilometers an hour to keep 110 on the FTP. So this is also something that makes it a bit more difficult. RPM around 70 now. The heartbeat went down a bit, but not really much. So I put in my head, I put into myself that I wanted to do the last minute again at 2:45, which is 110 of my FTP, and I actually managed to do it. But obviously it takes a lot of strength, and you know, mentally you put in your mind that you have to do it. So it was really hard exercise, and I couldn't wait to finish it. You can see on the images as here the struggle, but it was really great and be able. I wanted really to finish the training, not to give up halfway, or so. I really wanted to complete, and we managed to complete the attack prediction. Jonas Vingegaard favorite, and definitely is not my favorite, but really good and hard training, I think. A group ride of 75 kilometers and 2 hours in zone 2 completed my Saturday, before the last day of the Visma LISS bike training. On the Sunday, we close with another Z2, is the Simon Yates spin down. It's an exercise with cadence drills. It's 4 minutes 15 seconds in a low zone 2, 85 RPM. Then we have 45 seconds, 180 watt, for me is 3 watt per kilo, so it's a high zone 2, almost zone 3, 420 RPM. So you need to focus, stay concentrated, not jump on the saddle, and then do the 120. So a little push, then 10 seconds to go back in zone 1, and then keep going with the zone 2. So as you can see, throughout all the week, it's never really been a flat block of 1 hour or 2 hours. This is, for example, 50 minutes. There's always kicks, pyramids, intervals, even if it's a zone 2, or sometimes even if it's a zone 1. So that's essentially the learning of do the pro training for the whole week. It's never a flat training, always something. It's always something. Could be the cadence, could be the heartbeat, anything that could improve the body, anything that will train the body for something different. So how did it go at the end? Considering I was not 100%, I really enjoyed doing the training, apart probably from the Vingegaard one. Because they're really well structured, you learn something and you train different parts of your actual full fitness. So I thought I would have enjoyed more doing it 100%. There's a lot of learning, and there's a specific plan behind the pros. That's why they are pros. That's why their training are the best. So overall, and what interval ICU says, that I'm actually gained more fitness and also less fatigue. So mission was actually accomplished. You don't only have the Visma LISS bike, you also have all the little track training. I tried some and they actually pretty cool. What do you reckon? Should I try a few more? Should I do another week like a pro? You gotta tell me down below in the comment, and also let me know if you try different type of training. And other than that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe the channel so you come back here when I will go to Calpe and see what happened there. See you next time. Ciao.